to another video. In this video we are doing the second part of my cast assessment for Winners at War. Now, this once again is my opinions. Feel free to leave your opinions below, but this is what I think of the cast and how they'll do, but I am most likely wrong. So, yeah, leave your opinions down below, and yeah, let's get into it. So first up, we have Wendell Holland. Wendell was a competitor on Survivor Ghost Island, and he had a power duo with Dominic throughout the whole season. He made better bonds with people like Laurel, who was the deciding vote in jury, which caused him to win over Dominic. He is one of the newer winners, so he doesn't have much of a bond with the cast members, so it's hard to tell where he'll fit in. But he is a very likable person, so I do see him going far, but I also see him getting cut early because of relationships. And my prediction for him is around 6th or 7th place, just because of his likability, and no one will want to go to the end with him. Alright, next up we have Adam Klein. Adam is the winner of Millennials vs. Gen X, which is one of the more recent seasons. He came on the season while his mom was sick, and a lot of people say that's why he won, but he did play the best game out of the final 3 in my opinion. During the season he also found an idol, which I would like to see him find another this season, but there's a lot of people who are very capable of finding idols this season, like Tony, Boston Rob, etc. And I don't think he's going to win this season, just because he's not one of the more known people, one of the more known winners, and he doesn't have those pre-game relationships with some people. So that could go against him, or it could put him in a good position in the game. But we'll have to see when he goes on the show. Next up, we have Yul Kwon. Yul won Survivor Cook Islands the 13th season and became the first Asian American winner of the show. Throughout the game, he played the role kind of like the Godfather. Everyone came to him for his vote and to ask him about some ideas they had. And in the end, he won in a close vote, 5-4-0 against Ozzy. And in Survivor 40, I don't know how Yul will do. He is a strong competitor. He does do really well socially, but I think people might see him as a threat and take him out. So, personally, I think Yul will be a merge boot and maybe come back from Edge if he gets sent, but we'll just have to see. Next up, we have Sarah Lacina. Sarah played in Cagayan and her winning season Game Changers. In her own words, she played like a cop in Cagayan and a criminal in Game Changers. She found advantages, made moves, and caused blindsides to happen in season 34, with a bunch of all-stars in the game with her. She is probably one of my favorite winners in her winning game, just because of how well she did her jury management and how she transformed her game from her last season. Unfortunately, she was very cocky in her ET Canada interview, which makes me think she's going to be going into the game with a huge ego, which is something people will not like and might go for her early. So I think Sarah will be a pre-merge boot, although I would like to see her get far. Next up, we have Amber Mariano. She competed on Australian Outback, which she didn't win on, but then she came back for Survivor All-Stars and managed to beat her now husband, Boston Rob. Amber is coming into this game with a giant target on her back. She's married to one of the biggest players to ever play Survivor, and Boston Rob is also on the cast, who we'll talk about next. And both of them in the same season just puts a giant target on both of their backs. Honestly, I feel like Amber is either going to be a really early boo or she'll make it really far. But I don't see Amber winning no matter what. Next up, we have Boston Rob Mariano. He competed on Survivor Marquesas, All Stars, Heroes vs. Villains, and his winning game Redemption Island. He was a mentor on Island of the Idols with Sandra because they are two of the best players in the game. And Rob is known for being a villain and having one of the most dominant winning games in the history of the show. He comes in the game with a target for some of these reasons, like his wife Amber Mariano is on the season as well. He had a dominant winning game and he was chosen to mentor people. I'll be honest, I know not many people have this down, but I have Rob as my first boot pick because 1, he's a huge threat. 2, he's got his wife on the other tribe. And 3, I don't think people will want to keep him around that much. So, I have Rob as first boot. He has no chance at winning this game. Even if he comes back with Edge, they'll just send him right back to the jury. So, yeah, I don't think he can win. Next up, we have Parvati Shallow. She competed on Cook Islands. She won Micronesia and was the runner-up in Heroes vs. Villains. In Micronesia, she created the Black Widow Brigade, which stuck strong until the end, and she was taken by Amanda to the final tribal council, and Parvati beat Amanda by a vote of 5-3. A lot of people seem to think Parvati will make the merge. I honestly don't see it. I see her being one of the last pre-merge boots, just because her threat level is too high for anyone to want to take her to the merge. But yeah, I see Parvati making it that far, and if she does make it to the merge, I think she can get pretty far into the game, but she's one person I don't see winning no matter what happens. Next up, we have Kym Spradlin. Kym competed on Survivor One World, and she dominated the game both socially and physically, while still making some small strategic moves as well. Going into Season 40, she has a medium-high threat level because a lot of people know her to have dominated her season, but other people say she was just against a really weak cast, so it will be fun to see how she does in this season. Personally, I have her as one of my top 4 winner picks just because I feel like she is a person who can play the game well in all 3 categories, outwit, outplay, outlast, and she would be a good representative of the season. Next up, we have Denise Stapley. Denise competed on Survivor Philippines and did pretty well socially and strategically in the game. Her strategic game we saw when she blindsided Malcolm at the Final 4, when Malcolm and Denise had an alliance the entire game from day 1. Denise is someone I kind of have mixed feelings on. I feel like if Denise can get to the merge, she can go really far in the game and possibly to the end and maybe win. The thing about Denise, though, is she's not that great in challenges, and she might be taken out pre-merge due to her challenge ability. Hopefully that's not the case, because I want to see Denise play and get far, but honestly, I see her as a pre-merge boot. Next up, we have Tony Vachos. Tony is the winner of Survivor Cagayan, and he played in Game Changers. In my opinion, Tony has the best winning game out of any winner to ever play Survivor. he is going into a game as a huge target, and he also has the ability to find idols well, which could definitely help him in the long run. I see Tony as either a pre-merge boot or someone who can make it semi-far in the game to like final 8 before getting cut. But I've seen people say he is their winner pick. I don't see it whatsoever. Tony is not going to win. Next up, we have Nick Wilson. Nick won Survivor David versus Goliath, and he pulled off one of the most iconic tribal council moves ever, pulling off a minority split vote to get out John. He also found an idol, so we know he's capable of doing that, but I actually have Nick as my second placer this season, the runner-up, because I don't think he'll be able to get jury respect in the end because his jury speech wasn't that good in David vs. Goliath. But I do see him being able to make it to the end while still making moves. I just don't think the jury will respect the moves he made. Finally, we have Ethan Zohn. Ethan won Survivor Africa, and he also played in All-Stars. He is coming into the game with the best story out of the whole cast. He had cancer, and in his own words, it's a miracle he's on this season at all. I really like Ethan and his personality, his sense of humor, but that could put him as a target at some point. I see him being a merge boot, but also I could see him winning this game as well, so I'm not going to underestimate him at all. And with that, that is it for my cast assessment. Sorry for the ending of the cast assessment. I recorded this like 2.5 hours before the premiere of Survivor, and I finished 2 hours before, so I kind of rushed it just to get this video out in time. Sorry for that, but I put it off for a little too long. Anyways, my 4 winner picks are going to be Tyson, Apostle, Jeremy Collins, Kym Spradlin, and Ethan Zohn, with a close Natalie Anderson as well. But yeah. So with that, let's end the video here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.